Hi, I'm Jody Scott, Regional Superintendent of Schools for Henderson, Knox, Mercer, and Warren counties, and I'm here today with Larry Frank. Larry, tell us a little bit about how we got here today. What happened with PARA and how did it come about?
PARA started life as Senate Bill 315 back in 2010, was passed by the General Assembly and signed into law by the governor in January of that year, and created an entity called PEAC, the Performance Education Advisory Council, which you've been a member of since 2010, and I've been attending also. PEAC was charged in the law with advising the State Board of Education around the implementation and refinement of work that schools and teachers, principals, assistant principals do around the evaluation of teachers. PARA itself introduced three major changes in teacher evaluation. So the three major changes that were introduced were that student growth had to be a significant factor in the evaluation of employees, principals, assistant principals, and teachers. They had to be rated based on a 4-point scale instead of the 3-point scale that had been used prior. And anyone doing the evaluation of these people had to be pre-qualified. PEAC has really worked in three areas. One is the refinement and continuation of training of evaluators. One is the implementation of PARA. And the third is communicating these changes, this information to folks in the field. So the major work that we're concerned with here today it has to do with the training. Historically, the other piece of law that came into being at the same time was Senate Bill 7. Senate Bill 7 dealt with some of the technical issues around teacher tenure, honorable dismissal, the RIF process that enabled the changes in PARA to be implemented into schools. All of this then led to the creation of the Part 50 rules, which are the rules in theory that provide the detail to help districts and people implement the laws that were passed by the General Assembly.
Absolutely. As you mentioned earlier, Larry, that we sat around the table to develop this Part 50 rules to kind of interpret what the law meant for our educators and our evaluators and how that would be put into effect.
Yes, and I think it's important to understand, too, for everyone that this was probably, at least in my experience, the first time that all of us had worked together very carefully to craft legislation, rules that impacts all of us inside the schools and is good for kids. It's been a really neat experience, I think, in cooperating across the spectrum of school employees and including outside stakeholders.
Absolutely. So I get to sit with Dr. Volz and talk a little bit about Part